right. Hello. TGIF. Thank you for joining us at the Thomas compound. It's almost August. That means...
Should I be more over here? It feels like...
Should we be more that way? No.
Okay.
That would be too far. That's good enough. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Happy Friday, TGIF. And let's just go ahead and dive right into this. We're going to have this is now the House and Debrief, episode number 36. We're only going weekly now, Fridays, 3 o'clock p.m. And we will have, it's been 2 weeks, we'll have happy hour Q&A at the end. So look forward to this. Thank you for joining us. We'll go ahead and begin. I'm Stephen Thomas. My background is I'm a quantitative economics and decision sciences major, UC San Diego, 29 years in the business, Orange County native, Capital Valley High School grad, 9 kids. I'm an avid runner. I happen to have some of the kids here. Did you want to come up? So we pulled out some old Barbies, her old Barbies. This is Athena, and Zeke is loving the Barbies, isn't he? He didn't even want to go down for a nap. He liked them so much. Anybody else want to join us? Shy people over here? Hey, come sport your brand new haircut. Come on. Everyone wants to see the new coronavirus lockdown haircut. Come on over here. Compliments of mommy. Pretty darn cool. This is Mason Edward. Let's see, got it back up a little bit. Let's see if we can get it. Show him your side. Yeah, pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. He's looking pretty slick. I was saying this is probably one of his best haircuts in a, super duper long time. So my hat goes off to my wife. Thank you for joining us. We've got some preteens that are just too cool to come on camera right now.
They're waiting to do their workout.
Oh, they're waiting to do their workout. Anyway, I brought 6. We're a Brady Bunch family. My wife brought 2. I adopted her, she adopted mine, and we had Ezekiel, who's about to turn 2.5. Wow, getting up there. Do we still keep track of that? That'd make it, 30 months old? Anyhow, my background, I've also been in the press, and our company is Reports on Housing. It's your local real estate snapshot. It started out in Orange County back in 2004, and since we've brought it to the rest of Southern California. And most reports talk about closed sales data. I don't talk that much about closed sales data, but I can't wait to talk about July closed sales data because July is looking pretty fantastic, and I know that a whole bunch of homes are closing today, which puts it in July, and those numbers are going to look pretty spectacular. They're going to blow everybody's socks off, and it's kind of what we were alluding to with all that demand. But that's looking in the rearview mirror. Even if you have that right now and look at it and say, wow, that was great for July, we're talking now August. What happens if you place your home on the market? You can't really look at closed sales data because that tells you what happened in May, June, and July, because we're going to be in August and we want to look out the windshield. And what does August look like? August is out the windshield. It's the active listing inventory we're dealing with right now. And what is the pending sales velocity, the last 30 days worth of pending sales? From that, we're able to determine what the expected market time is. Place your home on the market, when are you going to go into escrow? So it's about setting expectations. And I do have reports, like I said, that dot all over. And LA, Orange County, San Diego, their report came out on Monday at the beginning of this week. And then San Bernardino Riverside will be this coming up week. And the one that just came out is the rest of 2020. And the way that it works is I come up with a theme. My wife helps me put it together, and with naming it and making it look good, and then we talk about what's going on in the market. That's with what's going on with the rest of 2020. Then we talk about the active listing inventory with each report. We talk about demand, what's it look like right now, what's the trend, and what does it look like compared to last year, and then we talk about the luxury end. The luxury end is on dialing and on all cylinders right now. So that's another piece that we bring. We have a summary. The summary can be put up on blogs, Facebook, social media, all that good stuff. And we also have an excerpt link that people can use. And then we do go over each area, the active listing inventory, demand, and the expected market time when we compare it to 2 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 1 year ago. And then we break it down by attached versus detached and price range. And then we also do have a closed sales report that we put together. Sometimes you can't expect it. This next report for Orange County, San Diego, you can't expect it because it will be next week. It'll be too early. We need to have 10 days before the MLS solds look really solid. So, but we do break that down by city as well. And then we go over distressed, and then we talk about the Southern California housing market and the various counties and comparison and contrasting them all, as well as distressed in those areas. So go to Real Reports on Housing, that's REPORTS on housing.com, and you subscribe there. And we just updated these to the latest format. So when you look at a sample report, you'll see some of the most recent, the new design. And it comes out every 2 weeks. And it's $15 per month or $150 per year. And you get a month free if you use the coupon code August, because guess what? August is here, the 5th month. 5 months. Can you believe it? Yes, August, tomorrow. Yes. August is upon us. That means we will have been locked down in a couple weeks for 5 months. And I believe it. Well, not really. My wife says not locked down, but you know what? We're being mindful. We're not doing as much as we typically would do during the summer. We had that little discussion actually last night. I'd like to thank our sponsor, which is Monarch Coast Financial with Kevin Buddy. He is absolutely awesome, good guy. He's been around for quite some time, and his company, they deal with more than one kind of borrower, more than one kind of loan. And when it comes to qualifying borrowers, look no further than Monarch Coast Financial to offer unique lending solutions, everything from full doc loans to alternative documentation to investor financing, even to private money loans. So he does everything from full doc to private money, and he has experience in spades. He's been doing this for a really long time. You can count on him to find financing solutions to help home buyers finance their dream homes, and he's been doing this since 1976, so since he was 10. He's been in the mortgage lending, helping home buyers and realtors with their financial needs. He's a super cool guy. Absolutely love Kevin Buddy. I've known him for years. And Kevin Buddy is, you can contact him. He can help you out at Monarch Coast Financial, 949-422-2075. That's 949-422-2075. And now some
Summer fun.
Someone said that
Photos.
you need the same. I need to give you a haircut like Mason's.
No haircut like Mason's. Seriously. Hair's getting a little long, but whatever. It's all good. Summer fun photos. Yes. You know what? We don't know what's behind those masks, right? That's right. Did you like that? I'm gonna get like smiles. Alana's, I didn't get much of an Alana boat there. How about this one? School teachers next month. Why are you sharing this? You're spreading misinformation. There's no way we'll be teaching cursive. Funny. Pretty sure this is how Hot Pockets are cooked. Oh, I think Mia. I hit a funny bone with Mia over there. If 2020 was a Bloody Mary, ew, it's SpaghettiOs.
Disgusting.
The bacon looks good, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess.
Cheese looks good.
But not.
Cheese looks good. Easy cheesy. Maybe 2020 isn't all bad. Notice, only one person in this meeting room at a time. That's not really a meeting room. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Now they can go do their workouts. So Southern California housing market is extremely hot. And how hot is housing right now? Well, it's fire hot. It's like you just ate something really spicy, and this is how hot the market is right now. Show this picture to all your buyers so they're prepared to understand just how spicy the marketplace is. Southern California active listing inventory, I draw a line all the way across, and the last time it was this low for Southern California was May of 2013. Now in this last report that just came out and will come out for San Bernardino Riverside, what's going to happen for the rest of 2020, I actually drilled down each and every county as to talk about when the last time they were this low, that type of thing. So you can gauge how incredibly different this market is compared to the Great Recession. Yes, we're in a recession, pandession, but does that mean that we're going to be going down in price? No, and that's because of the fundamentals of a very low listing inventory, and then now we have demand as well. But anyways, let's get into active listing inventory. This is where we were last Thursday, a week ago yesterday, July 23rd, 26,273. That's down 3% in 2 weeks. Last year, we were at 44,346. That was 69% difference. So there was 69% more last year. And today we're at 25,981. That is down 1%. So it's continuing to go down. Maybe not at the same clip that we were a couple weeks ago, but what we're going to see is as we get to the fall market is number of homes coming on the market, fewer and fewer, so the active listing inventory will continue to trail downwards. And typically we peak during the summer months, and as far as the active listing inventory is concerned, but not this time. It's usually between around July and August, but this time we did it in May, and that's where we hit a peak, and since then we've been coming down. So our peak is really early. A lot of that has to do with not as many homes coming on the market, and let's see how that is evolving really quick. COVID-19 is still suppressing supply, and the number of new for sale signs in the past 4 weeks, and I did yesterday in the past 4 weeks and compared it the 5-year average, and where we're at right now is Southern California is down 9%. It was down 10% a week ago, now it's 9% off, so it's getting less and less. And the number of new for sale signs, let's see, yesterday was at down 9%. 2 weeks ago it was a 13% difference. 4 weeks ago it was a 20% difference. And 9 weeks ago was a 44% difference. So you can see 9 weeks ago we were putting a far fewer number of homes on the market compared to where we are right now, just 9% fewer. But I wanted to drill that down a little bit further. LA is at 7% fewer homes on the market compared to the last 4 weeks, the 5-year average. And for Orange County, it's only off 5%. And Riverside is down 6%. San Bernardino is off 24% year over year. And San Diego's down 6%. What is going on? San Bernardino is the problem child. And you can see it in their numbers. They have less than 3,000 homes on the market, and their demand is higher than 3,000 homes on the market. So you can see that they're a little bit off as far as they need more homes to come on the market, and it's just exasperating the problem. They need more homes more than anybody else in Southern California. And I hear it from the agents that are there. They're saying there's just nothing on the market, and they're right. But COVID-19 is losing its grip on homeowners not placing their homes on the market because of COVID-19. It's getting to be where sometime in August we're going to see year over year for almost all the counties except for San Bernardino. It needs to come down more, but we're going to see it be the same as the 5-year average. So we're getting there. We're getting more homeowners placing their homes on the market. So Southern California housing demand, here's the queue, here's the line. It's really long as far as potential buyers waiting for homes to come on the market. Demand is hot. COVID-19 not affecting demand. And the Southern California demand, I draw a line all the way across, and it's the highest since August of 2012. So we have very low supply and very high demand. The mix of that creates a hot market. So this is what we have, full V. Actually, it's like this accentuated V. It's like way higher than where we were before. And this is what it was last Thursday, a week ago yesterday, July 23rd, 21,192. That was up 4% in 2 weeks. And last year we were at 16,131. That is 24% less than where we are today. So there's the difference between this year and last year. Today we're at 21,270. So you can see, went from 21,192 to 21,270. Not a lot of changing happening. This is flattening out now. And actually the difference is only 0.4%. So with that, I'm here to tell, I'm ringing the bell, it's time to sell. We're hitting the peak. And as far as homeowners are concerned, to place their homes on the market and take advantage of this great market, you're running out of runway. It's just not that much longer. Why? Because the kids are going to go back to school. And we'll talk about that. This is where we typically peak. Now we're hitting a peak, and it's happening right around here, beginning of August. I said this last report to this next report, we would hit that peak and then it would start to come down. That's where it's going to go. It's kind of flat from where we are right there. And then the kids are going to go back to some semblance of school. We're still doing back to school online shopping, and went to the outlets in San Clemente and got some awesome shoes. Buy one, get one free type of thing. The kids are going back to school. And when they do that, families don't like to move as much, so we get a change in the marketplace. Demand starts to fall. Now, understand this. We're going to be going into the fall market in a few weeks. Our kids go back to school. I know that Mia has orientation. She starts high school and has orientation on the 10th, and then a week later she starts school. So now we are here in the middle of August. Kids are going back to school, so we're going to start to move into the fall market in the middle to the end of August. So it's upon us. And what happens then? Demand will drop. But at the same time, so will the supply. So we'll get a drop in demand and a drop in supply. So understand that that's the makeup and that's the direction that we're going to go. And we've had this great spring market. That doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get like this spectacular summer market, because we're going to get fewer and fewer homes that come on the market. So it still will be juiced. The market will still be very, very hot. It's just there will be fewer homeowners coming on. And as far as the expected market time is concerned, I draw a line all the way across, and it has not been this low since I started tracking it in 2012. So you can see where we're at right now is an all-time low since I started tracking it back in 2012. And this is where it's at right now. We're actually a week ago Thursday, it's at 37 days. That was down 3 from the prior 2 weeks. So it went from 40 down to 37 days. Anything in the 30s is like driving 100 miles per hour on a freeway. It's just too fast for my liking. I want to see more homes come on the market to balance it out. I like an expected market time in the 70s, actually. I think that's like the perfect water, kind of like temperature outside of being 82. But SoCal last year was at 82 days, and this is the difference between this year and last year. Today, it's at 37 days. The change is just negligible. It's nothing much of it in anything. Why? Because we had demand go only slightly up, and we had the inventory only go slightly down. It wasn't enough to even change it by 0.2%. So that's why it's pretty much unchanged right now. So this is where we're going to be going. And it's that whole thing with, yeah, there's going to be less demand, but that doesn't mean that the expected market time rises like crazy. It kind of like slowly rises, and that's because demand is falling almost at the same rate that the inventory is falling. So inventory may not fall as fast as demand does the further we get into the year. But we'll have to wait and see kind of what happens with this because of how hot the market is with interest rates being so low. So it's kind of a wait and see of how, if this will rise at all or if it'll just remain flat where it's at right now. It's coming from a really low place, so I imagine it's going to go up, but barely. When it goes up from 37 to 40 or 42, like I said, where do I like the market time to be? Probably someplace around here. It's where we don't get as much appreciation. I don't want to see mass appreciation, even though I am a homeowner. And because I don't want to feel a bubble, I want, in this kind of a time, I want it to kind of just remain status quo. So, and then at the end of the year, we hit the holidays and the expected market time goes up, so it slows down. So LA County is at 46 days, unchanged from a week ago. Orange County's at 43 days, unchanged from a week ago. Riverside County's at 30 days, down 1 day. San Bernardino County, 25 days, down 1. San Diego County, 33 days, down 1. And you can see, with LA and Orange County being as large as they are, it's kind of offsetting these negative one in these areas as far as the down 1 day. As far as the overall expected market time, it really did not change much. Like I said, it's only slightly that it was changing. So let's talk a little bit about sellers. And this gets us into what this whole message is today. And it's about being careful about pricing and the dangers of overpricing. And I've brought this report before. I'll be bringing it again. I'm waiting until the numbers get more even keeled towards the maybe July or August, but we'll have to see what they look like. But sellers, they feel like, you know what, I've got so much information, and now being at home so much, they're able to do a lot of online searching and get an idea of what value is, right? So they're online, they're busy, they've got all the devices, they can sit in their bed and actually do a lot of homework, and they feel like they can just about figure out anything they need. There's valuation engines that will tell them how much their home is worth, but you look, they're all kind of all over the place. They'll be within a certain percentage of each other, but there's a whole bunch of factors that go into pricing, and it's not as easy as just hitting a button. But here we are looking at this. This is what homeowners are able to do, and as a seller, you feel empowered. You feel absolutely empowered, and then what happens a lot of times is, even though we're empowered, we end up overpricing. And that's because we can't pull the emotion out of it. And who can? A qualified realtor can. And a qualified realtor can really drill this thing down so that they understand the nuances of what goes into pricing, what the house needs to do in order to get top dollar, what it might be missing, what might need to be changed, does it need to be staged, not staged, a whole bunch of different factors that go into pricing. It's not as simple as just taking a evaluation model, hitting boom, and out comes a price. So with that said, some sellers are waiting, going, hey, how come my home's not selling as quickly as everybody else? And I showed you that there's like 25% to a third of everybody in the lower price ranges that have been on the market for more than 60 days, and a lot of it has to do with pricing and other factors as well, location, age, floor plan. There's a number of things that go into it in that report that I wrote a couple reports back. And it is also about the being very careful and being just making a really good choice in pricing your home, poring over all the data, comps, pending sales, and not taking in as much consideration the active listing inventory. You do want to take it in consideration, but it's not as important as pending and closed sales data. And be very mindful of relying on active sales, because some of those could be sitting for a while. So this is what we want to try to avoid: price reduction. And why? Because there is a golden opportunity. That golden opportunity is those first few weeks. And there's a reason why it's a golden opportunity. Because I know, I actually was searching for a home, and you get dialed into looking for a home online, and you get to know exactly which home comes on the market, excuse me, what it looks like, and then you're able to see lots and lots of pictures, and then you're actually able to scout it. You can go onto Google, oversee it, see what kind of a yard it has. You can do that kind of homework on it, so that you might not want to see it because you know what the prices are doing in an area, and that's why some homes sit. Now, when they sit down the road, when somebody reduces it, yes, it comes back online for all these people that are following it on their apps as a price reduction. But it tells you how much that price reduction is. So if it's only $1,000 or $5,000, a lot of buyers just go, that wasn't enough. And they also take a look at if that was one that they saw before that might have needed paint and different things like that. They don't even want to go see it. And those become shop-worn really quick. They need to take advantage of those first initial few weeks. That's the golden opportunity, those first few weeks, and pricing it right out of the gate. Because here's what I did for each of the counties. And if you look at this, LA County, you get a reduction of 5% or more. And this is the sales to last price ratio. So That's what a lot of people can talk about. What is the sales to list price ratio? But there's also the sales to original list price ratio. And you can see some of these people are way off. And what they get of the last price sales to last price ratio is 94%. Versus they get 98.1% if they did not have to reduce at all. These are actually closed sales from June. And pardon me for a second. And these are actually closed sales from June. So you have closed sales from June and you're getting 94% sales to last price ratio. And the median price is $750, so a little bit higher, but it's not like that in all the counties. Average days of market, 98 days, you're gonna be on the market for a long time. If you do 1 to 4%, you're getting 97.8%. 95.2% of the original price that you had, but then when you reduce it, you're getting 97.8, which was still less than this, 98.1%. So that's about, 0.3 off, and you say that's not that much, but still, in the grand scheme of things, we're still talking about $1,800. And for sellers and homeowners, they want to get every dollar that they can. Plus, they're on the market for 79 days versus 25 days if they price it right out of the chute. So that's LA, Orange County, same thing, 94.7%, and these are 10% of all closed sales. This is the month of June. 110 days, 97.3%. If they reduce it between 1 and 4%, which is better than these people. You can see the difference here and here is nearly 4%. That's a lot of money that you're leaving on the table by having to reduce the price 5% or more. Those just look shop worn. It gets a lot fewer potential buyers, potential suitors. They look at those people, think, are they really realistic? And so they get fewer people that actually are interested. That's why they get less. Same thing here. This is a difference of 1%. And if you look at the median sales price between 1 to 4% reduction and no reduction, it's about 1%, which is about $7,500. That's pretty huge. I think sellers want an extra $7,500. This is the importance of pricing it right out of the chute, especially given all the way that things roll today, everything being digital. Riverside County, 95.8%. 129 days on the market. Look at this, 406, 425, 420, so the median doesn't even really change much, but if you've had to reduce the price like crazy, you're getting a lot less. If you had to do it 5% or more. 1 to 4%, you're getting 98.4, no reduction, 98.7, so no big difference, 0.3, but still, you're still talking money at the end of the day, and you're talking a lot longer on the marketplace. So if your goal is selling and is selling as quickly as possible, the best bet is to price it right and to pit offers against each other so you can get as much as you possibly can. And at San Bernardino, they go from 97.8 to, remember, they're the hottest market right now. So by far, this is why these numbers don't change much, but they still change by 1%, just about 97, 98, 99.8%. 119 days, 87 days, 30 days. How long do you want to be on the market? Especially right now. And we're running out of runway. You just have till the end of August, and then we're going to hit that fall market and things are going to slow. And a lot of people go, Stephen, why is the market slowing down? I say it's called fall. That's what it's called. It's called fall. We're still going to have seasons. And then you look at this is San Diego, and they're at 95% sales to last price ratio with 5% or more of a reduction, 1 to 4% of reduction, 98.2%, and 98.5% with no reduction. So just a little bit more, but it ends up they sell it in 20 days versus 74 days. And like I said, right now, you don't have a lot of runway to work with. It is so important to price right. And these numbers, when the market slows just slightly, because we're in a very hot seller's market, these numbers get way out of whack if you have to reduce. So really quick, it's also a great time to buy. Mortgage interest rates are extremely low. Thank you, producer, director, wife. Mortgage interest rates, she's getting me ready for the happy hour. I'm having a glass of vino. I just told her to pick a bottle, so I don't know what it is. Mortgage interest rates are going down, and they've been low. If you look at this is all as far back as Freddie Mac's data goes. It's 49 years back. You see this, it goes up to 18%, and it's been going down ever since, and this is where we're at right now. 2.99%. Almost hit the all-time record 2 weeks ago, because last week it went up to 3.01. The week before that it was a 2.98, which is the all-time record, and this is 2.99, so on the heels of the all-time record. These are record low rates, 3%, again below 3, 2.99, pretty much 3% mortgage, but still, these are fueling everything. It is creating these long lines of buyers ready to purchase. And people are going, where is all this coming from? If unemployment is as high as it is, it's because there's 120 million people that are employed and a lot of millennials that are getting into their 30s and they haven't purchased yet and they've saved money over the long haul and they're ready to pull the trigger. Home values are actually on the rise as well. And they're realizing that with how hot the market is right now currently. Let's talk about COVID-19, very important. We'll get into this really quick and we'll get into Q&A. I don't have a lot of slides on coronavirus anymore. Don't want to beat I think that's beat it. That's a horrible saying. Anyways. Anyhow, you don't want to beat a pinata after it's down on the ground. A W-shaped recovery is not what we want, and that's why we continue to be mindful of the virus. And if we got that, at this point, it doesn't look like we can even get towards a W-shaped, but because the shock value of COVID-19 is gone, and we're kind of used to working within its means. However, we need to be mindful, wear masks, do our social distancing, be smart about it so that it doesn't get worse, because we don't want to roll back California again. We don't want to roll back the Sun Belt, so be as mindful as possible. The world. A week ago, 15,636,000. It's now at 17,421,000. We were averaging 243,700 cases per day. That was the 7-day moving average. And it's kind of slowing down a little bit. We're at 255. The slope of this was higher. It's starting to trail off. It's still rising. 255,000 is where it's at. United States, 4,091,000 a week ago, 4,542,000 today. We were averaging 66,000 on average for the last 7-day period of new COVID-19 positives per day. That was the 1-week average. Now it's at 65. So what does that mean? We've hit this plateau. We've hit this before. We were in the 30s. Now we're in the 60s. So I would really like to see this thing come down. And the only way to make that happen is for all of us to put some piece of cloth over our mug and that we're still able to see. That's it. Very, very simple. And the USC's grim trend, this happened last week. The death toll passed 150,000. There's different comparisons to that, but you can see where it's gone. It's kind of gone up. And yes, we're starting to trail down in the Sun Belt states where they've kind of hit a apex and are starting to come down slightly. But it was all those hospitalizations that everybody was talking about, that there was a lot more people in the hospital. What that ended up doing is it created some more deaths. Not anything like what we experienced over here, but it definitely has been on the rise. It's been above that 1,000 threshold, and it will stay here for a little while into August. And as far as the COVID-19 testings are concerned, we're supposed to be below 5%. We were there in June, and then it started to look ugly. It got all the way up to 10%. Now it's at 8.5% positives. We want to get this thing below 5% so we can have proper contact tracing. That's what it's about. And I'm not even going to talk about contact tracing. I have sites that show how good the different states are, but I'm not even going to talk about it until we get this number where it needs to be. And as far as California is concerned, we were at 430 last week. We're at 493 right now. So within the next week, we'll surpass 500,000. 9,438. It was this 7-day moving average a week ago. Guess what? 8,900 now. So we have hit this plateau. And we haven't really hit that plateau before, because we've kind of plateaued, then gone up, then kind of plateaued, gone up, then it kind of plateaued, and it kept going up, and then it spiked. This is a real plateau, but we're still adding 8,900 per day. So what we want to do is, because this is as high as it is, we want to see that this starts to come down. And I just bring this up because I've talked about Los Angeles being the number 2 most impacted county behind New York in all of the country. Well, Riverside County is actually number 13 in all of the United States, the most impacted county. Orange County is number 15, San Bernardino is number 17, and San Diego was number 19, but they keep moving down the list because San Diego's numbers have kind of like really slowed down. So they're now number 21, most impacted county in the United States. Macroeconomic Outlook, and we'll get to Q&A right after that. We've got the initial claims for unemployment. It actually rose slightly. So it was the second increase in a row of initial claims. And a lot of this has to do with the Sun Belt states and California laying off people for the lockdowns and all that stuff. So we have this little spike in initial claims. It didn't really go that much higher, but it did go up from week to week. So second increase in a row. We were going down for quite some time, and then we had that increase last week, and then a little bit of increase the one that came out last night or yesterday. 1.434 million is where it's at right now. So it was a little bit lower than that the prior week. U.S. continuing jobless claims, and you can see it was trailing down, and then it went up a little bit. So it was up 1 million to 17 million. We're at 16, a little bit over 16 the week prior, and now it's at 17 million. So a lot of that has to do with the increase in the COVID-19 cases. So as we're mindful, wear masks, we can start to see those numbers come down. So we'll just have to see where we go from here. And GDP came out this last week. It was everything that everybody thought. Actually, it wasn't as bad as what expectations were, but still, this is down 32.9%. If you go backwards in time, yeah, haven't seen anything quite like that. That's called forced stoppage. Now, the way that retail sales and housing is, and a few of the other numbers are looking, GDP for the third quarter is not looking anything like this. It is improving quite a bit compared to where we were before. So just know that this was expected. We've been talking about it. I talked about it like 50 episodes ago, and so that's just natural. Just understand that. And understand that the Fed Financial Stress Index is in negative territory. And I think this is actually an older one. I got to get this even closer. It's even lower than this. My apologies. Go to Logan Motoshami's. He has this, his Facebook page, he actually has the most recent reading. I forgot to do this, but I know it's down again. Anything negative is good, and it's going the right direction. It's getting further into the negative territory, which means that as far as stress in the financial markets are concerned, it's getting better. So that's what we want to see. It went really negative over here, the Great Recession. Why? Because that was a bad time, and we led that thing, real estate and bad lending. This wasn't bad lending. This was just forced stoppage of the economy. We got the spike, and there was a lot of stress in the financial markets, but it came down pretty darn quick and went negative, then went positive when we had that first resurgence of COVID, and now it's come back down again, and now it's getting well below zero, which is where we need it to be. And as far as the GDP is concerned, I just want everybody to know a big chunk of this is consumption, 68.6%, and retail right now is on the rise, and it looks very, very V-shaped. So we're going to see with more consumption comes a higher GDP number, which comes a stronger reading when we get the third quarter reading, when we get into, what is that? October, right? Yeah, October. Man. Can't believe that. So go to reportsonhousing.com. It's REPORTS. A lot of people go reports. It's plural. Reportsonhousing.com. And you go there and you get a month free. Use the coupon code August, and you can see what some of these reports look like. And I want to thank Kevin Buddy, Monarch Coast Financial. He is our sponsor, and we really appreciate Kevin. He deals with more than one kind of borrower, more than one kind of loan, and they'll make it happen. Everything from full doc loans to private money and everything in between, he handles it, he tackles it. And he's been around for a long time, since 1976, like I said, since he was 10. He's been in the mortgage lending business, helping home buyers and realtors with their financing needs. You can definitely count on him. He knows what he's doing. He's a great guy, too. So Kevin Buddy, you can contact him, Monarch Coast Financial, 949-422-2075. 949-422-2075. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it. Oh, I put that's all, folks, but I know what the time it is. I just hid the slide. Let's see. By the way, this is Greece in the background. And yes, Greece is absolutely beautiful. And I have to hide this slide so that I can show you. It is our happy hour time, sponsored by Monarch Coast Financial. So thank you very much. Cheers. I'm having a glass of wine. Don't ask what it is, because I told my wife to pick one out. She did. She opened it up, brought it to me. Cheers. So happy hour time. It is time. All right. Let's see. Hey, Mason, is mommy with the kids, or can she help me read these? I'm trying to see. Thank you, as usual. With San Bernardino being at 24%, you think we'll still be slowing down? Yeah, not nearly like the other counties. It's still going to slow down slightly, but you're at this ridiculous place right now, San Bernardino, where you're in the 20s as far as expected market time. So when it goes from 20s, like into the 30s, you really can't tell that much of a difference. There is a difference there, though, and I can see it in the numbers, and it means that things slowing down slightly, but you won't be able to tell it on the street. Buyers, anything below 60, and when you get well below 60, which is where we all are behaving right now, it just feels really, really hot. So it will be slowing down slightly in the numbers. Happy hour time. Any other questions that we have? Nice pour. Cheers. Lots of cheers. Cheers, everybody. Anybody have a question? Because I can't go backwards. I need live questions. So if anybody has a question, I'll be more than happy to answer your questions live right now. Anybody? If not, I'm going to sip this, wait for a question to come. Can you look into your crystal ball and share how the election? Haha! That comes up often. So I'm at the election phone, one from Kimberly.
Mason
It
was
says
standing
Seymour.
there. I'm like, you're like, oh, I think Dad needs to go.
Oh, so election time. I've done the numbers, and there's going to be a lot of articles about how it's going to affect this, how it's going to affect housing. And I got this question come up twice this week, both in Newport Beach, about the elections. I want everybody to understand, I've looked at the data, and the data does not show, and I've been doing this since like 2004, looking at the data. You can't see it in the data. You can't see any kind of a slowdown, any kind of a misstep in the numbers. It's not like the stock market. The stock market is more volatile to something like that, to elections where everything pauses and people go, oh my gosh, we have this party or that party, Democrat or Republican, and then all of a sudden you see this big giant shift in Wall Street. But I will tell you this, you get that shift, and I know what happens over time in Wall Street, it corrects itself. So that's the initial human element. There isn't that initial human element from the elections in the housing data. So there will be stories, but if there are stories, show me where they bring the data into the picture, because I've not seen anything on data. I actually tried to prove it. That's what was going to happen. I couldn't show it. I actually also tried to prove that the end of the year is the best time to purchase a home. I actually couldn't show that either. I was having a very, very difficult time, and I poured a lot of, because that's what I thought it was, and I was wrong. So sometimes that happens. Let's see, REO inventory is flying off the walls, especially East Coast. Large amount of non-performing notes are being bundled. I can't read the rest.
And sold to asset companies.
You can look at the last episode. I talked about distressed, went into great detail why I don't think there's going to be a wave. It's going to be more of just this tiny little thing. It's being bought like crazy. Why? Because there's an appetite for anything financial that will perform. And real estate will definitely perform. We're not going to get that wave. Will there be more distress? Yes. That'll be a 2021 story. It just won't be at the same velocity as it was before. So you can't compare it to that Great Recession. I know that we remember what that burn felt like, but this one is totally different. We're all wearing our sunscreen, and we are all being mindful, and our housing stock is very, very strong, and there's a lot of equity out there. So I showed who's vulnerable in that. You can see it by going to my my last week's video on Facebook or YouTube. And so please take a look at that. So let's see, how about appraisals? Yes, appraisals. I don't talk about that much, but you know what? I've been doing this since 1991, and every time the market gets really hot, there's an appraisal issue. That comes hand in hand with a very hot market. The hotter the market, the more issues we have with appraisals. And why? Because all of a sudden there's very little on the market, and there's a whole bunch of buyers that are bidding against each other, and somebody lost out on something, and they're willing to pay a little bit extra. That little bit extra might be $10,000 or $15,000 more, and if it's like a condo, like in San Bernardino, and you got something at 250,000. Somebody just paid another 10 grand. Now you're at $260,000. That's a big substantial difference if the comps don't really show it. The market might be there, but the appraisers aren't there yet. They need to be dialed in what's going on in the marketplace. They can be fooled by a lot of the information that's out there. Just like I said, sellers, they think they are empowered by looking at all the information they can find out there. That's why subscribe to the housing report, get them a copy of the housing report, and then they'll get a better understanding of really what's going on locally in the housing market. So that's what I've been telling people. We're going to have a problem with appraisals for a while as long as it's this hot. Is showing time accurate, or is it because more people are using it now? You know what? I have not done enough research, so that's out of my lane as far as, I think you're talking about the showing time as far as people utilizing that. I don't know what the numbers even look like. I'm not a fan of days on market. I'm not a fan of a lot of different statistics, which is why I even invented the days on market. The expected market time. Not a fan of days on market, not a fan of a lot of the stats. And the reason for it is because I would rather look at what the inventory is right now and how quickly things are moving. And based upon the inventory, I look at it this way. It's kind of like you're getting onto the freeway. When it's loaded with cars, that's a lot of other sellers, it doesn't move as fast. If there's nobody on the freeway, when you get on, voila, boom, you're able to travel at a very, very fast speed. That's that's kind of the analogy that I like to use. So you really want to know how fast you can go, and then expected market time is okay. Well, based upon the speed that I'm going, and I need to go from Orange County, where I am right now, to Los Angeles. How long is it going to take me to get there? That's the expected market time, and you're going to know that based upon the velocity of the market, the speed of the freeway, and all that good stuff. So that's kind of the way that I look at it, and that's why I even came up with the expected market time statistic, because if I can look at expected market time of any community across the United States based upon supply and demand, the way that I do it, I can tell you how hot the market is. Is the price going up or going down? Prices are going up right now, almost in all ranges. It's hot in the upper ranges. Matter of fact, the upper ranges, I've talked about that before, that is going up at a very, very fast velocity right now. It's not values, but it's as far as the hottest upper range that I've seen in a long time. I did 2 Newport Beach meetings this last week, and they're all saying how incredibly hot it is. So it's every range right now. We're dealing with a very hot market that has a lot to do with these 3% interest rates. Do you think the stimulus, once decided, will eventually push rates up? No. Eugene, I think we have to be on the other side of this where we start to see the economy improve before we start to see the 10-year elevate. So just because we have a stimulus package, there could be a little bit of a rise in the 10-year, but there already is this disconnect between where the 10-year is and where that's how you can gauge where mortgage rates should be. And there's already this disconnect. This average was like this, then all of a sudden COVID-19 happened, and now the average is like this. It's come more like this, and so we might get a little bit of an uptick in the 10-year, but it'll float back down until we have a really good handle on where the economy is going. And with GDP, we're just with this last ad, we're just going to have to wait and see. So how risky do you think buyers are being removing the contingency for appraisal up front? Gosh, if they have the money in the bank, then go do that. If you have the money, sometimes you're going to have to put up a little bit more in order to get it, and that's just part of purchasing a home in this environment. So I think they're safe in doing that. I don't see any kind of a roadblock or any yield sign coming up. The market will continue to be hot going forward. I just don't see that many speed bumps and hurdles going forward. How do you see 2021? Get that question a lot. So I talked about in this last report what I see for the remainder of 2020. I need about another month and a half of data. I already have starting to gather my ideas and where I think things are going, which right now I just have to see what happens with inventory. I think the story is going to be an inventory issue going into 2021, and with low rates and an inventory issue, we can continue to see more of the same thing. That's just a prelude to what's going on. It's foreshadowing. I've got to see more information. So we'll stay tuned. As we move into fall, kids back to school, given supply and demand will dovetail down, will interest rates still hover around? Can't read the rest.
3%, and will values remain current levels? Will they continue to increase or decrease?
They won't go down, Robert. I think that we'll be at a place where yeah, like I said, the velocity of the market is not going to change much from here until we get to the holidays. So we're already at an extremely fast-paced velocity, even if it rises a little bit. I'm talking in San Bernardino going from the low 20s to the low 30s. If you're a buyer, you will not notice the difference. There is a slight difference, but that still is an elevating value. We could see Orange County slow down by the time we get to the holidays into the 70s. We'll just have to see. But that is still, once we get above 60, the values aren't rising as much. And we're seeing that in Los Angeles, but in San Diego, Riverside, and San Bernardino, it's a bit hotter. And it's going to take quite a bit to slow the appreciation rate that's going on right now with how hot the expected market time is. And it's currently Orange County and Los Angeles will be the slow migration upward, so you're not going to feel it. I mean, you might start to feel it by the time we get to November, just slightly slower. And people go, Stephen, why is it slowing even further? And it's called, I tell them, it's called winter or the holidays. So we do have seasons in Orange County, just not quite as stark as where my brother lives in Wisconsin. They have a real fall. They have a real winter. A winter I don't want to be around for more than a minute because I don't understand -20 below wind chill. He said it's when it hurts to go outside to breathe. I don't want it to hurt to breathe. That's what we do as humans, we breathe. Do you think mortgage forbearances will increase with the stimulus package ending today? Well, I mean, we could get some lates, that's for sure. They need to get their act together. I mean, that's just a mess. I don't get into politics, but I've been watching what's going on over there. It's kind of messy. They knew that this day was coming, and we're dealing with this on the 11 o'clock hour. Now we're going to go past that hour, so now it leaves a lot of people in the lurch. Can the number of forbearance go up? Well, we've been seeing it trail down for weeks now, and now we could start to see it start to trail upward. It'll be interesting to see where it's at, because yeah, we'll get a deal together. Yeah, they'll make things happen. It might make people a little bit late for a little bit of time, but I just want to see the data. I saw the surveys. I don't follow those kind of surveys as much as I want to see real solid data of what they really do, because what people think they might do is different than what really happens when push comes to shove and they still have to make that mortgage payment. So we'll just have to wait and see on that, Lisa. But that's a great question, first time asked. Luxury market forecast? Well, I thought we were going to have a slower luxury market based upon how it came to a complete standstill. And it thawed almost as quickly as the rest of the market, and now we're dealing with a very hot luxury market. Now, where does luxury go? It tends to slow down a little bit more than the other price ranges the further we get into the year, and they tend to be the properties that sit the most. So I'd be wary of that the heat in luxury could slow down a little bit more than the lower ranges, but that'll be, something that I'll have to continue to watch. And you'll have to continue to subscribe to the report, but I don't really have a forecast yet for that. Owners have equity. Yes, they do. Yes, sirree, Bob. Let's see, what is your foreclosure forecast due to COVID-19, mortgage forbearances, etc.? I don't know, is that Ramon Padilla? Yeah, Ramon. I would look at last week's episode. And I talked about it earlier. There's not going to be a major wave of distress similar to what everybody saw during the Great Recession. That was a recession that was built on the back of a housing bubble and lending bubble. From that, we got this gigantic issue that we had to work through, and it was a housing issue, and values just plummeted. We're not dealing with anything like that. We have values going up, we have people getting more and more equity, and the number of people that it affects, and I have a slide that's from Keeping Current Matters that's excellent, that talks about how it is like, it's like 90% have 10% or more equity. 90% of everybody in forbearance has 10% or more equity, and it's a large portion that has more than 30% equity as well, or more. So look at that slide from last presentation, and you'll see why there's only vulnerable amount of about, I guesstimate it's around 6% of all the people in forbearance. So that's not a large enough number for there to be a wave. It's more of a ripple. So the people that are in trouble, they'll be able to sell because they have equity. So, hey, okay, yes, bug showing time. I've heard. Hi, Karen. Great call this morning. How can I explain to buyers that prices won't be going down anytime soon? Send them episodes. What is this? What episode number is this? 36? I think it's episode 36. It's up there. I'd send them episode like 30 through 36. Have them watch them over and over again. Because I've been talking about it for some time. Have them look at this one to understand it's a supply and demand issue. I mean, really, have them subscribe to my report. Give them my reports, because I even tell them what to expect for the rest of the year. We're in an expected market time zone that is totally favors sellers right now. So as far as a reversing course and being in favor of buyers, it's not going to happen based upon where supply and demand is, and also talked about distress last week. So you can see distress isn't going to be tugging down the market like it did during the Great Recession. Banks were in control of our market during the 2000s, those 2009, 2010, and 11. Ugh, man, banks were totally, they were either doing foreclosures or they were approving short sales. And between the two of them, between those two different areas of the marketplace, they were controlling our market. Banks were. Banks aren't really in control of our market. Homeowners are. And there's not going to be a wave. So way different market. Since most won't be traveling for the holidays this fourth quarter, what do you see the effect on the market? What's the rest say, my love?
Counteract any typical slowness.
Counteract into what?
Any typical.
Now, you see,
slowness.
December's slow, period. We happen to have a really strong, stronger December than November, and people go, yeah, December, it's all of a sudden really good. It's good for a different reason. It's good, and we have an October Housing Fest. We'll have to see if we have it this year. An October Housing Fest is where we get this bump up in activity. And the reason we do, remember how I said that homeowners don't like to move during when the kids go back to school? There is one time you can move, and it's at halftime of school. Halftime is during the winter break, where they are in between one semester to the other. They can actually close, which is why we get this little bit of a bump in closed sales data in the month of December. But as far as, and because now the homeowners can do it, they can move schools if they need to, there won't be as much disruption. Now, as far as new escrows in the month of December, not so hot. And that's why you see January and February historically are the lowest months in terms of closed sales. They're a reflection of what happened during the holidays and winter months. And it's usually the first couple weeks of January before things start to turn around and get a little bit warmer. And that is because we're busy focusing on our New Year's resolutions and putting, maybe riding our brand new treadmill that we got. And then our New Year's resolutions go by the wayside and we start looking for houses again. So let's see, do you have a foreclosure update for this week? No, that was last week. In each report, I do have a foreclosure section and a whole report on it, and it doesn't change much. And even in the summary, I talk about the foreclosures, and it's just not that much to talk about. I used to have a whole section devoted to foreclosures and short sales. It's just not worth me spending any time on it because it's such a small portion of the overall marketplace. So, no need to update that. Stephen, with regards to the market softening during the traditional fall season, do you feel that just as COVID pushed, can't read
Okay, this is long. Pushed the selling season a couple of months, that even with kids back to school and online, the flattening of buyer demand might actually be less than normal. To clarify, do you think the demand will actually stay stronger than historical averages due to COVID, and buyers' personal preferences have changed and will continue to support market, especially with high dense areas seeking refuge and safety from COVID and the challenges with social
Yeah, so my wife read me that, fantastic. I think that's, I actually have had this thought in my head. And
From Tom
Franco.
So the question listed under Tom Franco, the guy
Yeah.
who wants to see the question.
Yeah, it's Tom Franco's question if you want to see it. And it's a long one, but it is exactly what goes on in my head. So Tom, you might be a quantitative economics and decision sciences major. Or you're thinking like me. Might not be, that's kind of a scary thing, right? But anyways, Tom, I actually think that is, it's very plausible that we're still at home and we're home more, and the kids are at home, and you can move from a house to a house and still be online. You could be in a motel, you could be in Cancun, you could be anywhere you want to be, and you could do online classing. It's classing. Is that even a word, classing? I don't think so. Online classes. Yes, you could do online classes from wherever you're at. So I wondered how much that's going to factor into things. We're still going to get a slowdown, but I'm wondering if it will be muted. And only time will tell. So, Tom, I'm actually not rooting for that. And I'll tell you why. Because I don't like how much demand is, how hot demand is right now. I want to see the number of homeowners come on the market start to get to the 5-year average, which it is. I want to see it at that, and I'd like to see a little bit cooling of demand so that we don't get the same velocity, because otherwise we're getting too many buyers pitting up against each other, and which means that values are rising at a faster clip. I don't want to see it go fast because I don't want to fuel a bubble. I know Logan, who I talk about quite a bit, is a buddy of mine. Logan Mohtashami, Mohtashami. You can look at his Facebook posts and all that stuff and his videos. Yeah, it's not something we're totally rooting for as economists because we don't want to fuel any asset bubbles, and that could become an asset bubble if it continues to go along this trajectory. So we need more people to come on the market. Have the stats for the non-payment and rent changed, increased? Hearing doom and gloom, but not seeing stats. Yeah, I had a slide for it. I didn't even put it in here. It hasn't changed much at all yet. As far as the rental, and remember, they're still getting that $600 per week, so we're going to have to see what happens as it goes from $600 to whatever they negotiated to. Right now, it's $600 down to $200 per week. Is that going to be enough, or are we going to start to see the delinquencies increase? So we don't want to see that the delinquencies increase, and that could happen. So it's something to wait and see. But as far as the month of July is concerned, not a big change year over year. It's of course there are more delinquencies, not nearly as bad as what everybody is thinking out there. So it's not yet in the stats, that's for sure. Should seller get a pre-listing appraisal? I always think that a seller should get a pre-listing appraisal. Always have felt that that's a really good idea. And it's just that they know exactly what they're navigating into, and it helps with pricing, especially if you've got somebody that's not in line, and they're the ones that did a lot of their searching, and they did this calculation tool on my own. Bink, this is what it said my home was worth. I mean, buyers and sellers know what they all are. There's a whole bunch of those engines. They're all over the place right now. Zillow is the one that gets the most darts thrown at it, but there's plenty of them that are out there that are aggravating the problem. It comes down to a house-to-house issue. You can kind of get an idea by cookie cutter and stuff like that, but you know what? If you've got a homeowner that has a property that is backing up to a busy street or something like that, and they're not in line with where they should be, then those are the people that you might want to get an appraisal for. Let's see. Keeping current matters is excellent. I agree. I must be way behind. Have an amazing weekend. Yay, have an amazing weekend. Can't hear the questions. I know. I'm sorry, Mark. I referred to it so you can go look at the questions. Let's see. I'll do that differently next time. I'll give my wife another microphone. She'll be off camera doing it. I think I hit the bottom of my questions. So thank you very much, everybody. TGIF. Everybody have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy your families. Enjoy your loved ones. And is my sound off? Check.
No, I can.
No, my wife can hear it. Sometimes when you get the sound off, Cheryl, you need to get off of it and get back on. You can hear it again. It's more of a connection issue with Facebook. So anyways, I appreciate everybody being here. Cheers. Have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your family and loved ones, and we'll see you on the other side. Next week, Housing Debrief, episode 37. Oh my gosh, I've got somebody that needs to say goodbye.
On Friday.
It's-
Next week on Friday.
Athena. What's that?
Next week on Friday.
Next week on Friday. We're down to 1 week. 1 week. We're down to once per week, and it's on Fridays at 3 o'clock. Oh, you want to do that? Look at you. She knows how to click it and everything. She clicked it too. That's all, folks. We appreciate it. I appreciate my kids. I appreciate my wife for helping out. She is awesome. She's the best producer, director, marketer. She's awesome. Organizer. Keep me on my toeser. Well, anyways, have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you on the other side. Thanks much.
Bye.
Bye.